Here at the Stafford Motor Speedway for week number 2 of the 2023 season, and Bonssa, the 51st running of the Napa Springs Sizzler, finally in the books, and what a great weekend it was.
It was a great weekend. Good racing across pretty much all of our divisions, and Ron Silk, in the end, finally wins the greatest race in the history of spring, but it didn't come easy because he had to hold off Woody Pitkat at the very last corner.
And Woody Pitkat will be back with us here this Friday night for the Call Before You Dig 81, 2 consecutive weeks to open the season of open modified racing here at Stafford.
And I'm excited for this one because in last year's Call Before You Dig 81, we saw a really good battle between Woody Pitkat and Ronnie Williams. They went back and forth, crossing each other over, but in the end, it was Ronnie Williams who came out on top before Woody got 3 in a row.
Yeah, Woody's been on fire here over the course of the last year, looking for his 4th win in less than a calendar year here at the Speedway in an open modified. Going to be a great field of those cars, but a great field of SKs as well. And what a good, feel-good story last week in Napa Victory Lane.
Jimmy Blewett returns full-time to the SK Modifieds at Stafford for the first time in a long time, leads every lap from the pole, and gets the win. What else can you say about that? Jimmy Blewett was very excited to come here and race here full-time, and what a way to show it by finding Victory Lane. And he showed his emotion in Victory Lane when he climbed out of the car. He was very excited. The whole team was very excited. What's crazy is that's the second time in the last 3 years that the 85 cars won the SK season opener. The one time it didn't, it finished second by 0.02 of a second. But that team is off to another really strong start, but JJ, one of the crew members on the team, said, it's early, let's see what happens as the year goes on. But Jimmy Blewett, new team combination wins. Keith Rocco, new team combination, second.
Couple of big names at the front of the field and some new rides, but there were some familiar names and some familiar colors that also struggled.
Yes, Mike Christopher Jr. and the 82 team, they ran second pretty much the entire race. Then the car shut off coming off turn 2, and he really couldn't recover from there. Noah Corner running top 5. Engine issues, out of the race. Marcello Refrano, 2 engine issues. 2 engines, 2 problems, out in the heat race, out in the feature, finished 26th. That's 2 straight years that Refrano has started the season with a DNF. He said he needs to cut those down if he wants to compete for that championship.
David Arute, Anthony Bello, both had some overheating issues, finished toward the back of the pack, so it's going to be interesting and fun to watch a lot of those drivers that you know can run toward the front of the field and win, come up through the field and come up through those championship standings.
There's a lot of good cars in the field. We mentioned also Jonathan Pulio, who was running top 10. He had an issue with the steering rack. That took him out of the race. 15 to 20 cars any given week, Kyle. They have a chance to win, but it has to go your way. You got to be perfect to even have a chance at winning.
In the late models, it was the all-time winningest driver in that division that was perfect on Saturday afternoon, and that, of course, is Tom Fern.
Oh, I said in our talk before the season started, Tom Fern ended the year hot. You don't want that to continue. Well, it's continuing, Kyle, because he took the lead early from Michael Ray and never looked back. He was the class of the field, getting another victory. He ended the year with 4 wins in 7 races, I believe. Well, I guess you can make that 5 of the last 8 now with the season opening victory. In second spot, defending champion Adam Gray, who was kind of just quietly making his way there. We didn't see him move forward quickly, but in the end, he got the runner-up position. And then finishing in third is Michael Ray. And Michael Ray's had a trend of good starts to the year, and we've said it before, he's got to continue that because he can be the point leader after a month and a half, but can he stay consistent through that summer stretch in order to fight for the championship at the end? But I think it's a little too early to talk about the title, but nonetheless, good starts for the top 3.
In the SK Light Modifieds, another classic photo finish to begin their 2023 campaign with a driver that hasn't been to Victory Lane in a couple years.
Brian Sullivan by 5 thousandths of a second. He almost lost in the final corner. He had about a half a car length on Tyler Chapman. All of a sudden, he slid up the track. Tyler Chapman saw the door open and went for it, but just came up short. Sullivan, 2020 SK Light Modified champion. He's back in the division after trying the SKs last year. Didn't have a lot of luck there, but here he is now and off to a good start, trying to go full-time and compete for another title. Tyler Chapman, he ended off the season with back-to-back wins last year. Starts off with a second-place run. Tyler Berry, our defending champion, wasn't really much of a factor. He was dealing with handling issues. The car wasn't quite to his liking, so he didn't have the finish he may have been looking for. But there was a lot that was going on that SK Light race and a lot of drivers who had some rough luck.
Yeah, Barry finished just inside of the top 10. Joey Farino, one of those drivers that had some bad luck that ended his race early. 42 cars tried to qualify for the event. I believe, 33 cars started.
33, yep.
Huge feature event. Once again, we expect that throughout the summer months for those cars.
It's a very healthy field of cars, and I'm excited to see what comes for the SK Light division this year.
In the limited late models, again, another late race pass for the win with Matt Clement going to the front.
On the outside, he motored around Jeremy Lavoie on the outside in the final restart. Actually, a couple of restarts. The guy on the outside the front row took the lead because Lavoie did that earlier with Devin Jensick. But when you go back to lap 2 of the feature, you were surprised Matt Clement was still going because he was dead sideways in the middle of the track, hit Jeremy Lavoie, and I think that's part of the reason why Clement was able to save the car. But in the end, Clement goes to victory lane, first win of the year. He's back in a gold car, Kyle, and the last time he drove a gold car, he won 7 races in 2019.
Going to be hard to beat. Off to a good start here this season. You mentioned Jeremy Lavoie. He recovered to finish in the second spot.
And it was a tough day for that team because they broke down on the way to the track, but they eventually made it, got the runner-up position. I know they wanted the win. He led the most laps in the race, but the last couple years, Lavoie was one of those guys that didn't really get going until the halfway point of the season. So far, so good with that second place finish.
And the Street Stocks opened the season last weekend with their first feature event and a new winner.
Ryan Waterman, who we knew now that he's running full time was going to be a contender. When would he get that win? Man, he had to earn that win because he had to fight Travis Haidar, the defending champion. Waterman said in victory lane, that boy is hard to race. He is hard to pass, but Waterman did it. First ever win at Stafford. He's been wanting that victory for a while. Hasn't had much luck at the half mile, but finally that luck turned around this past weekend. Travis Haidar, defending champion, as I mentioned, starts the season off with a second. He was battling for the win, but kept the car in one piece. And then Burt Willett, who was second in the points last year, finished third.
And I know he's not running the full season, but what a run for Walt Hovey in his debut in a street stock here at the Stafford Speedway after a morning practice crash.
Yeah, he hit the wall pretty good in turn 1 after some sort of mechanical issue. Got the car fixed. It didn't look 100%, but he started mid-pack and made his way up to 5th. So good on Walt Hovey, really both Hoveys, because Nick Hovey had a top 10 finish in the SK Lights, which is his first at Stafford in that division. So a good day for the Hoveys. We'll see what Walt's plan is for the rest of the year, but you got to give him credit. First time at the half mile. He's seen a lot of races here, but to come here and actually compete for the first time, he did a really good job.
Those are just some of the stories in the 6 divisions that'll be back in action here at the Stafford Motor Speedway on Friday night, featuring the Open Modifieds for a second consecutive week with the Call Before You Dig 81. And don't forget, if you can't be here in person, all the action gets underway at 6 o'clock on Flow Racing.